Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube yoga channel. My name is Meg and today I'm going to be teaching you the yoga pose, staff pose or Dandasana. This is a really lovely pose for stretching out your hamstrings and also into your calves as well. We're going to go over how to get into the pose correctly and safely, some different modifications and also some different variations as well. If you feel like you might need to use a block, go and grab yourself one. You can use a cushion as well, especially if you feel like you maybe have got quite tight hamstrings. If you don't have a yoga block though, it really is not the end of the world. I'm going to show you some different variations that you can do with and without a block, and also how to do the pose with and without a block. So it's not a necessity if you don't have one. And when you're ready, we will get started. We're going to begin this pose facing the short edge of the mat if you're using a yoga mat. We're taking the legs out and in front and we're sitting up tall here. You can place the hands down by your sides and just take a moment to relax here. You want to let the shoulders melt down away from the ears. You want to use your core muscles to kind of lift you up, and we're kind of flexing through the toes ever so gently. So we're not pointing the toes, we're just kind of letting them sit where they feel really comfortable. Like I said, lifting up through your spine and your hips. Imagine there's a piece of string running from the base of your spine all the way up through the top of your head, and as if someone's kind of pulling on that piece of string to keep you upwards. Your shoulders are rolled back and down away from the ears. Give them a little wiggle or a shake out if you need to. And this is your staff pose. So in this pose, you might feel like there's a little bit of tension through the hamstrings. If you need to take a soft bend behind the knees, you can do, or actually you shouldn't lock the knees out anyway, you should have a soft bend. But what I mean is if you want to bend your knees up, you absolutely can do. You can place your hands down by your sides to kind of help keep you up, but just make sure you don't take the shoulders up towards the ears. You want your shoulders to be quite heavy, but this is just to give you a little bit more support. If you're still struggling or you still feel like you might need a little bit of help, we're going to take this into a modification and use your block. And you can use this block for all of your variations as well. So maybe you feel like when you're actually in staff pose alone, you feel okay, but when you start to come into the different variations, you might then feel like you need a block. So try using them with and without a block, have a play around with it and see what feels best for you. But grabbing yourself a block, and you're going to sit onto the block. And what this does is it just gives you a little bit more height, takes a bit of pressure off of the hips, a little bit off of the lower back. Again, if you want to bend into your knees here, you can do. You don't have to have them straight. If your hamstrings feel really, really tight and you just want to bend them up, as long as you can feel a little stretch behind your hamstrings, around 50% of a stretch, that's what we're looking for. Keep a soft, if you're not bending into the knees, make sure you keep a soft bend, especially as you've got this height. We don't want to lock the knees out. We don't want that to happen. We want to keep them soft. So if someone came along and sort of bounced on your knees, they would go if they needed to. Again, hands come down by your sides. If you find that your shoulders keep going up towards your ears in staff pose, this can be quite handy sitting on a block because you're kind of trying to push your hands down into the ground. And obviously the higher your shoulders are, the less likely your hands are to touch the ground. So you can think about that. It's really good at kind of opening up through your shoulders, through the neck as well. So this is your modification in your staff pose. And where can we go from here? This is a fantastic pose because there's so many different modifications. Feel free to keep the block underneath your bum if you want to, or if you want, you can take it out, whatever feels best for you. Our first modification is one that I think everybody thinks of, which is coming into a forward fold. This is really good, again, at opening up your hamstrings, but using this or doing this, you can use a strap if you want to. If you don't have a yoga strap, you can use a tie, you could use a piece of clothing that's maybe not very elasticated, but just something similar to a tie that's going to be strong and not kind of elasticated so much. So with your forward fold, if you struggle to come into your forward fold, use your block because this gives your hips more room to move, so you will find that you can go a little bit further. So using a block in a forward fold is fantastic. What we're aiming for in our forward fold is to think up, chest forwards, and then sink down. We're not trying to get our forehead to our knees. We want to be lifted. We want to keep the neck nice and neutral, and we want to slowly fold forwards. There's a few different ways you can come into this. So I like to practice with active flexibility to begin with, and this means keeping my spine straight. So it actually means I won't go as far forwards, but it does mean I'm very conscious of what my back is doing, and I'm using my muscles to bring me forwards. So I'll sit up tall, through my spine, through my hips, and just gently start to tip forward. Imagine you're trying to bring your chest forwards. Maybe you can grab hold of your ankles or onto the feet, and think about pushing your chest forwards here. And this creates a flat back. And this is really good if you've got tight hamstrings, or also into the feet as well, because like I am here, I'm grabbing hold of my feet and I'm kind of pushing my chest forwards, and this is going to open up through your lower back more as well. If ankles or feet is just absolutely not going to work, use your yoga strap, pop it around the toes. Same thing again, push that chest forward. Use your chest, or use your hands to kind of push that chest through to create a flat back. You can always use a mirror, check what your spine is doing. If it's kind of doing this, think about pulling that chest forwards. So this is your first variation, and it is quite a difficult variation. It can be quite a lot, but it's really good at creating active flexibility. Like I said, opening up the lower back a bit more. What you can do from here as well is open up through the back in different areas. So you can kind of target these stretches to either hit into the top of your back or your lower part of the back using like cat-cow spines. So if you don't know what cat-cow spines are, I'll pop a little video up above. So if you feel really confused, you can have a little look at that. But basically what we're thinking is cat spine, we're tucking the tailbone and rounding through the upper back. Cow spine, we're sticking the tailbone back out and behind, the squeezing the shoulder blades together. So that's kind of the basic principle for your cat-cow spines. So when we're using a strap or using your hands, we're grabbing hold of either your calves, ankles, or onto the toes. If you want to start to stretch out into your upper back, think about pushing your shoulder blades apart. So it's like we're using our feet or our arms on our ankles to kind of push your chest up in towards your body and create as much space between the shoulder blades as possible. And this is going to open up underneath your shoulder blades. It's going to open up through the upper back. You can then just let the head melt down as well, opening up a little bit more. If you then want to hit more into your lower back, you can shuffle this to the more traditional way of coming into your staff pose or this full pose. And that's by pushing your chest forwards and then melting down. Again, you can use your strap and pull your feet. And again, we're not trying to get your head to your knees. We're thinking chest down and then let the head relax. But think about sticking your tailbone back out and behind and pushing the chest forwards. You can also do this, these forward folds with your toes pointed or flexed. If your toes are flexed, it's going to hit more into your hamstrings. So if you've got really tight hamstrings and ankles, using flexed toes is going to really help to open them up. So wrapping the strap around the toes, using them to kind of pull the toes up and in towards the body and then gently melt down, or you can obviously place your hands onto the toes and pull them up and towards you. If you point through the toes, you're going to open up more through the tops of the feet, through the tops of the ankles and into the shins as well. So this is good if you're someone who runs a lot maybe, or finds they get a little bit of ache and pain and tightness. I used to work with someone who who did a lot of breaststroke swimming in competitions, and they would find that they had really tight shins, and this is such a great pose to do because you're kind of stretching through the tops of the ankles and through the shins. Even this, sitting up tall and just focusing on pointing through the toes is going to help, but to add on to it, if you can grab hold of the heels and kind of push the heels in towards the body, it's going to make this a lot more intense. If you can't grab hold of your heels, you're taking the strap and wrapping them around the heels, and it's just pulling the heels closer up in towards the body, and you will feel that shift. And you can sit and you can flex. Okay, I can feel that into my hamstrings and my ankles and my calves. Point. Okay, I can feel that into my tops of my ankles and into my shins more. So you can kind of move through the two. Always remember when you're coming into your forward folds to hold this at around 50 to 70%. So it's a nice gentle stretch. You can also come into a revolved staff pose as well. So staff pose, we're sitting up nice and tall through the spine and through the hips. To take this into a revolved staff pose, we're going to take the right hand onto the inside or the outside, of the left leg and just gently twist. So your left hand's coming behind. Think about breathing into your chest first, expanding through the chest, and exhale to twist. And this is really good at opening up through your lower back a bit more. And think about pushing your left shoulder back and behind. So if someone's pushing it round just that little bit further, breathing into the chest, exhale to come back. We'll do the same on the other side. So left hand comes on the outside of the right leg, sitting up tall through your spine and your hips. So don't let your chest roll forward. We want to keep upright, nice and tall. Deep breath in through the chest and exhale to twist into your revolved staff pose. Gazing behind you if you can. If it feels too much on the neck, you can just gaze in front. But think about pushing, or imagine someone is pushing that right shoulder further back and around to kind of open you up a little bit more. Breathing into the chest, keeping up tall through the spine and through the hips, and exhale to come back. Another variation that you can do, which is one of my favorites, is to come into your forward fold stretch, but to lift one of the arms. You can use your strap to do this. It is a little bit more fiddly if you do, but you can do. So if you're using a strap, wrapping it around the toes and then grabbing hold of both pieces with one hand and lifting one arm up. So I've got my right hand onto my strap, flexing through the toes and lifting my left arm up and back. If you can do this without a strap, so you can do this by holding onto the shin or the calf, the ankle, or onto the toes, and think about lifting up that left arm, gazing up, keeping that shoulder pulled back. So even if you are here, it's absolutely fine, but think about pushing that shoulder back. And it's not about how far you can take the hand, it's about pushing the shoulder, opening up through the chest. Maybe gazing up to follow the hand, or if it feels too much, you can always look down, maybe looking down at the hand on the foot. Spread through your hand, your top hand, so you feel a nice stretch, and we'll swap over and do the same on the other side. So left hand either using the strap, grabbing hold of the shin, the ankle, or onto the foot, and then lifting that right arm all the way up. Gazing up towards the ceiling. Think about pushing your right shoulder back rather than your hand back. Gazing up or down. Breathing here. Stretching through your hand. We'll take one more deep breath. Exhale to come back. Roll the shoulders out after that just to make sure that they come back into neutral. And the last stretch I want to show you is quite a nice one to do if you want to use gravity, or if you find that your knees come down quite easily. You can bend your knees to do this one if you want to. We'll do it with bent knees, and then if you feel more comfortable, start to straighten them, but keep a soft bend behind the knees. We're going to take the hands behind, grabbing hold of your elbows with your hands, and then simply just melting down over the legs. You will not get as far from doing it like this as you would do with your hands onto your ankles or using a strap, because you're not kind of pulling yourself down. This is all gravity doing the work here. And again, you can use a block to sit on as well, which might help you tip that little bit further forward. But yes, taking the hands onto each elbow and then gently melting down. If your knees are bent, maybe staying here, maybe you can start to straighten them, but keep a nice soft bend behind the knee. And this is good because it's going to straighten out your lower back, stretch out your lower back, but it's also going to open up through your chest, through the fronts of your shoulders, through the arms a little bit as well. And it's just going to kind of let gravity do the work as you slowly come down further towards the legs. This is an active stretch. Take a deep breath in. And exhale to slowly let go and come all the way up. I really hope you enjoyed this class, and I hope you feel a little bit more confident in staff pose. There's a lot of different things that you can do with staff pose, and they all kind of help to hit different places like upper back, lower back, hamstrings, tops of the legs. It's a really handy pose to know, so that if you're ever coming into your own practice and maybe you wake up one morning and go, God, my lower back's really sore, what can I do? Oh, I know. I'll do staff pose and I'll modify it, or I'll use this variation and that will hit into my lower back a little bit more. So I hope you really have found this helpful. This is one of many classes that I have got in a playlist, which I'll pop up at the top. And basically it's going through loads of different yoga poses of how to do them correctly, how to do them safely and properly, and also how to modify them and add in variations as well. So if you are brand new to yoga, or you're just starting to learn the different poses, or want to check that you're doing them correctly, check what different modifications you can do, or maybe even just pick up a few fun new variations, go and have a little look at that playlist. I really hope you enjoyed this class. I hope you feel a lot more confident in your staff pose, and I look forward to practicing with you all again soon. Thanks. Bye.